All right, how is everybody doing today? Again, we've got that chat window, so even though that might have been a rhetorical question, I hope we're all doing well, and I do appreciate you joining. Layla, are you able to hear and see me?
Yeah, I'm here. I can see you, can hear you.
Wonderful. Okay, we've got Layla on the line. She's our customer success manager. So she's going to be joining us here today. If you've got any questions, again, feel free to go ahead and shoot those over to us in the Q&A. And if you've got any support questions, if you're having trouble hearing us, having trouble seeing the presentation that I'm currently sharing, go ahead and shoot us a message in the chat. We'll try to get those resolved. And I'm going to give everybody about 30 more seconds here, and then we'll get started. Quick note: we are recording this. We're going to make this available on our YouTube channel. So if you've got some questions, or if you're chatting with your board or manager, and you are thinking that this might be something that's useful, you could go ahead and share that with them there in the YouTube using that YouTube link. We'll send that out probably a day or two after the webinar. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started here. So the goal is we're all gonna be walking out of this meeting with a couple different things, one of which being, we know how to run a virtual meeting with a little bit easier using Vintium software. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, I want to chat a little bit about, what is Vintium. Ultimately, we are a communication software for condos and HOAs. We've got a ton of different features, such as email, SMS, voice messages, personalized websites. On the management side, we help with service requests, package tracking, amenity reservations. A lot of the clients that are on this call, you probably don't need to hear this again. But again, just kind of an overview. Vintium is offering a lot of different solutions to help communities manage their day-to-day, right? And specifically on the communication end of things, we want to make sure that everybody is aware of what's going on and aware as to what their community is doing at any given time. So with that, let's just kind of jump right into this, the virtual meeting side of things. And I know that we've had a ton of changes over the last couple months. So first, let's, we couldn't talk about virtual meetings without talking about the need to switch to virtual meetings, right? A lot of folks have been using or holding in-person meetings for a very long time. And now with COVID, it's kind of shifted the way in which we conduct business. There's still 40,000 new cases every day in the United States. And, people think that might go down. Some might think it might go up. We really don't know, in all honesty, but ultimately what we can do is kind of prepare for the worst. So what we've done is we've surveyed about 136 communities, and we found that the majority are already holding virtual meetings, right? Whether that's on a Zoom, such as we are doing today, or maybe that's through Microsoft Teams, or maybe they're using FaceTime or Skype for Business, or just Skype, right? So it's kind of cool that we've already started to trend in that direction. But we still have a lot of folks that are holding in-person meetings, which is great if you're in one of those areas that has a low COVID count, or you're not at an at-risk community. I think hey, in-person is tough to beat. Ultimately, we're going to try to do so here using our digital solutions. But ultimately, there's still 8% of communities that aren't holding any meetings at all, and I think that's kind of the worst case scenario, right? We also found that 65% of communities hold their meetings on a monthly basis, and ultimately, if you've been going for the last 6 or 7 months without a single board meeting, you're not really doing much to support the community. So hopefully we could get you into a better position here after this call. So next, I kind of want to go into why we built this, right? We've kind of framed that there's this change. And ultimately, if we've learned anything this past year, it's that community is more important than we've ever realized. And Vintium makes it easy for communities to bring your residents together when they need it most, right? And what we mean by this is we've had communities that have used Vintium for their Easter egg hunts or for their, they're putting together chalk murals on the street, and people are driving by in cars and kind of coordinating all of this with Vintium. And it's kind of neat to see our solution used in a new way. The amount of SMS and voice automated messages that we've been sending out month over month has grown tremendously, like 300%. Since COVID started, and it's nice that we're able to bring communities together. But on the other side of that, we've been chatting with a handful of attorneys. I actually think I saw Katie join the call. Katie from Rosenbaum Attorneys has kind of mentioned there's been more recalls this year than she's ever dealt with. There's a lot of contention, a lot of disagreement, a lot of forceful takeovers, recalls, impeachments, that sort of stuff. And maybe it's just because people are living closer to each other and leaving at home. They're starting to notice each other's quirks and that sort of thing. But ultimately, our goal is to help your communities make these decisions faster and easier, even when physically distant. So without further ado, let's kind of just jump right into it. So at a high level, what are virtual meetings and what does it do? So what Vintium has created is the ability for 300 residents to join a video conference. It is powered by Zoom, so it's going to be very familiar when it comes to the tools and that sort of thing. It centralizes all of the communication in one sheet. We've got the agenda items. We've got the community information easily accessible, so you can switch between the meeting and back to the community, the agendas, any attachments. Residents can engage right to the desktop. They could also download our iOS and Android applications and engage right there without having to download another tool. So it's just kind of this one tool where they could connect entirely with their community. And it doesn't cost anything else, right? If you've got a subscription with Vintium, we've got a couple different plans. All plans up until 2021 will include the virtual meeting tool. Over to the premium and opportunity to start doing virtual meetings with your community. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the setup. And this, I'm going to go ahead and just jump into our demo accounts. So here I've already got one. This is going to be Sea Lights. This is one of our websites we've put together. It's a completed website. Us, address, that stuff. But this is a website, right? Ultimately, we do have this access your community link, which is where I'm going to be able to log in as a master administrator. We have 11 different profiles, and that ranges from a residence to a board member to a property manager, master administrator, and a lot more where that came from. But if I go ahead and log in, I'm going to log into the meeting tool here. And I've already created one as a draft. So let's just kind of run through this as a draft. So here we're able to still edit this information. Ultimately, what's the title, what's the type of meeting, whether this is a committee meeting or a annual general meeting. We could go ahead and designate that here. We could also select the meeting location. This is not only used for virtual meetings, but we can use this for in-person meetings as well. So you can set the date and time. Again, we can kind of designate whether it's in person or online. This feature is a beta feature. We kind of did a soft launch about a week ago with some of our clients, and we've been getting some feedback, making some updates. But this is new for us. We're really excited about it, and hopefully over the coming weeks and months, we'll be hearing some success stories from all of you about how it's been working. So again, keep that open line of communication. And again, if you do have any questions after going through this, we do have this help window here. So you could go ahead and reach out to Layla, myself, the rest of our team, and kind of learn about, learn a little bit more and ask any questions if you have any. But as we continue, we can include the agenda. This is really nice because this gives folks an idea as to what's going to be spoke about in the meeting. In addition, we can include the meeting minutes afterwards. As I mentioned, this is going to be the one centralized place for all of this communication to be viewed. This is going to act as your kind of historical record keeping. We know in some states, specifically thinking about Florida, you've got to hold these records for 7 years. Other states, I think you've got to keep them in perpetuity, especially as we're beginning to know more and more and more about digital options. I think we've got a couple questions coming in through the Q&A. So let's go ahead and, oh, nothing yet, actually.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. So if anybody does have anything, we do have that Q&A. So feel free to go ahead and just shoot us a question. And then Layla and I can take a look at that. Okay, so meeting minutes. We also have some voting rules, right? So this is where we're able to create a poll for a meeting. I would say that this doesn't necessarily, replace your annual general meeting when you're voting for board members. This is more for like informational. We've created one example with internet service providers. Let's just say that you're trying to adjust your providers. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at this. So here we're able to create a multi-answer, single select, or open response. In this particular one, I'm asking, what's the preferred service vendors? We could go through that, as well as what's the monthly spend of current residents. Now this could be replaced with whatever we'd like. In this last example, yes, no, do you currently have a landline? Would you like one? That sort of stuff. But ultimately, it's nice. We've got all of these things here in one centralized place, making it pretty easy for folks to learn about Vintium. So, learn about the meeting. So from here, we've gone ahead, we've put this meeting together. Now let's go back to the slides. And what's really cool is we've also provided notice with this. So it includes the date, it includes the location, it includes the agenda items. And you'll see here on an email, it's a little bit zoomed out, but not optimal, but you kind of get the idea, right? This is a branded email that's going to all of your residents. They're able to view the logo, they're able to view the time, date, location, as well as those agenda items. So depending on your bylaws, depending on how your community is structured, this might act as total notice. You might still want to post it in a conspicuous area just to be certain. But in addition to this, we also send a push notification, right? So if residents already have the iOS or Android app, boom, they're getting those notifications as well. So from here, we've got the host in-meeting experience. So as I mentioned, this is partnered by Zoom. We're leveraging the quality video and audio stream that Zoom already has. It's familiar, people understand it, but we've got the added functionality that's specific for condos and HOAs and their management companies. So from here, you could kind of see, based off this picture, we're able to admit guests in the waiting room. They're able to join by phone or by computer audio. And we've got some flexible controls. Again, doesn't have any download necessary. And as I mentioned earlier, we still have that help window in the Zoom meeting. So this definitely helps. I just got a message from John. They have a large community, a large number of residents who aren't necessarily Zoom or tech savvy. So what can we do about that, John? Great question. We could do a couple things. So one, with this, if they're logged into Vintium, they don't need to log into Zoom. They don't need to know a password. They don't have to figure out the meeting ID. It's as easy as logging into your Vintium account, clicking on this link, and boom, they're able to view that, to view the information, to join the call. So that really helps. In addition, some folks that might not subscribe to email or even text message, we also have the option of using smart calls. And we, again, in that same survey of 137 communities, we found that 7% of communities are still reaching out to the residents, letting them know about board meetings by calling them. So same sort of thing. If you've got 60% of your residents that aren't very tech savvy, reaching out to them through a automated voice call on behalf of the community, letting them know this is how you can join, I think is a really great way to ensure that folks are able to get on the call. So from here, let's go ahead and take a look at the, we've got another slide here. So InHost.
We have one more question that just came in, which is about the security of joining the meeting from Guillermo.
Okay, so we do, I'll actually get into that within the next 3 slides, Guillermo. So thank you very much for asking. Give us 1 second here and we'll get to that because we do have some security features already in place. Let's see. So again, kind of going into the in-meeting experience, we do have the ability to manage these attendees, same as we do in Zoom. You're able to mute all, right? If you're trying to conduct a board meeting, there's got to be some semblance of kind of following the rules. You can share a screen. You can view all of the attendees. You could chat with all of the attendees. So we've got a lot of options here that just kind of facilitate the call and make sure that everything is going in the right direction. So from here, we're able to look at the attendee experience. And Guillermo, this is what I wanted to chat about, or this kind of dovetails into your question here. So if a resident wants to join the call, the first thing that they've got to do is certify that they are in attendance, right? So this is somebody that is logged into their account, that they have an active account with the community, right? Just make sure that there's no outsiders trying to join. And they're also able to, as I mentioned earlier, kind of view those agendas, view those meeting minutes, view the attachments. And then based off of the rules, we've got it's kind of hard to see, but we're clearly displaying whether or not they'll be able to vote in the survey that has been provided by the host. Again, able to switch between the agenda and the meeting, and they're able to join via audio and video if they want to allow their screen to be shared, or if you want if hosts want to give the ability to attendees to talk, they can. I know some communities offer a open discussion or open forum for 3 minutes or so. So with this, we could go ahead and unmute those folks so they have the ability to chat. So Guillermo, I hope that I was able to answer that question. If not, you could go ahead and shoot us another Q&A message. One other thing, it does open up 2 hours in advance. So residents have plenty of time to make sure that their audio and video is working, that they're able to hear the hosts and board members speak. So that's kind of nice. In addition, it does send an email kind of letting them know about the meeting.
We have a related question here. How do we give access only to certain groups?
Great question. So at this point, Tommy, we have the ability to kind of allow certain units to vote in a poll type of scenario, but we don't have the access to limit to, for example, owners quite yet. But that is something that we are actively working on. So unfortunately, this is kind of like a community-wide meeting at this point, but it is something that we are working on. So great question. Thank you. Okay, so we've gone through the attendee in-meeting experience. Now let's go ahead and take the survey. So using the same example, we're trying to decide between our internet and cable provider. We've got a couple different options. Well, let's just kind of see what everybody's favorite is. So this is a attendee who is actively looking at the questions. They're able to respond, cast their vote. And then what's really nice is on the other side of this, we're able to see in a graphical representation what those results are, making it easy for boards to digest. They know what the results are, they know what the community wants, and then they can go ahead and vote on those items. We're also able to adjust voter eligibility, and that's determined by administrators. So, we've got a little bit of flexibility there when it comes to only allowing certain units to vote. So from here, surveys. We also have the ability to, again, host all of this information in one centralized location. So we're able to take a look at some reporting. We've got our meeting record. The meeting is automatically recorded and stored. We've got attachments. We've got the survey results all in one centralized spot. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at this in one that we've already finalized. So we'll go over here.
Just before you do that, John, Guillermo has a follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Would the platform be secure for legal meetings with lawyers?
So that would be limiting access to, I'd imagine, just the board, maybe the manager and the attorney. Great question, Guillermo. At this point, again, it's kind of like an all or nothing with virtual meetings, where it would be a tool that the entire community is kind of invited to. Once we get the ability to segment the audience, then we should make it a bit available for only the attorney and only the boards to be able to join. I mean, we have that function with a lot of our other tools. When we're sending out an email blast, we could segment based off the audience, based off the building, whether they're a board member, whether they're a resident, that sort of stuff. So that is kind of like our next step, but we're not quite there yet. So again, this is a new tool. We're the only property management software company that's kind of offering something like this. So it's kind of a new endeavor for most of us. And that's partly why it's so exciting. But at the same time, we would love your feedback. If you've hosted a couple meetings, you find that there's a couple tweaks that can make it better, we'd love to hear from you. Layla, myself, the rest of the team are kind of standing by to hear about that. So
and don't just send us tweaks, send us why you love it as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So same thing. Okay, we're looking at a meeting that has just finished. So let's go ahead and take a look at a finalized meeting. It looks like we've got another Q&A that just popped in. So if we can't limit who goes on, can we try to deny access that is trying to log on? Layla, do you know if that's possible? Can you help me out with that?
Yes. So you join a waiting room. So when a resident tries to join the meeting, they go into the waiting room. So you can deny them access there, or you can allow them to log in. You could also remove them when they're in the meeting. So you can deny people access.
Okay. So that, and I guess along those same lines, while it's not perfect, this could be a tool that's used, if it's just the board that wants to meet with the attorney, you could just kind of deny everybody access. Kind of a workaround that probably isn't the best option at the time, for the time being, but definitely something to consider.
And along those lines, we do record the meetings and they are saved. So if you're having a confidential attorney meeting, might not be the best option at the moment.
Agreed. Good call, Layla. So yeah, speaking of which, this is a meeting days ago. Here we're able to who was notified of this meeting, how many people participated, the participation percentage. We've got some, those meeting details that we filled out earlier. We also have that meeting recording, so we could go ahead and download that. We've got that agenda here. We've also got the meeting minutes. So when was it called to order, roll call, that sort of situation. So it's nice that we've got everything compiled at the one centralized location. Again, we've got the votes. So if I go over here and I select the results, here we're able to kind of pop these out into that graphical representation again. So it kind of makes it easy. And then lastly, we have attachments. So in this case, if we wanted to put together a attachments for the agenda, or maybe there's a flyer from an upcoming event, or maybe there's a bid for a landscaping vendor that you'd like to review. You could go ahead and attach those here. Looks like we've got a couple other questions. Layla, can you respond to those?
Just gonna stop you there because we do. Tommy wants to know, is the meeting recording available to everyone and can it be deleted?
So at this point, the meeting recording is available to everyone. And at this point, it is kind of cemented into the online meeting once it's saved. So that is something we've been hearing some feedback. Again, we kind of had our soft launch a couple days ago, and we're going to be, evaluating some of these things and seeing what sort of adjustments we can make, because we've kind of heard that, having that recording might not be the, for some communities they might want it, for some communities they might not. And again, that kind of goes to meetings as well. If you're having a confidential meeting, that sort of information shouldn't be available to all residents, especially if you're talking about things like, delinquency reports or pending litigation, that sort of stuff.
And another question, how can participants register to certify their attendance?
Great question. So in this situation, let's just say that I'm a resident and I'm joining the 12:30 board meeting that we've got. Well, they're going to be signed in to Vintium. So we're already going to know their name. We're already going to know their email. We're already going to know what unit they live in. So we're already going to have all of that information on this particular individual. So with that, we could kind of determine whether we want them to join in the future. And that information is also going to display in the Zoom call. So you'll be able to know, hey, I want to admit this person, or I don't want to admit this person. Again, if you're kind of having a more limiting meeting, you could go ahead and do that.
But also when the resident arrives, they can't join the online meeting without registering their attendance. And you can then download that in a report that has the information about their attendance. So what time they joined and so on.
Absolutely. So if we go over here, we've got a handful of different reports that we could go ahead and print. So if we wanted to review the attendance list, who attended, who didn't, if we wanted to view owners or present people only, if we wanted to view the voting results, we could go ahead and do all of that, and that saves as a PDF, really easy to view. So relatively straightforward. Same thing with meeting minutes. It's a click of a button, and you're able to view that information down here at the bottom left as a download. Any other questions that we've got so far? I actually think that's my next slide. Just kind of going through and seeing if there's any questions, if there's anything else that people want to learn about, or again, if you've got any feedback, or if you have any things that you think you're really going to love about this.
We seem to have answered all the questions so far. Hopefully we'll get a couple more, but we do have our first compliment. I can't speak. Guillermo says that that's nice for meetings, so it's encouraging. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Guillermo. Wonderful. Well, we'll stay online for another 30 seconds or so, but that's about all that we have today. If there's any other questions, again, feel free to send them over to us. So we're ending a little bit early, so everybody could get to lunch and start feeding themselves in a timely manner. But we are here. You could reach us at us@vintium.io. You could also call us at 844-900-0910. And I'll go ahead and shoot that in the chat for everybody to review.
Way ahead of you.
Nice. Thank you, Layla.
We have 2 more questions as well.
Okay.
So John wants to know, how long is the learning curve from non-tech people? So how long does it take for people to get used to the software, I guess?
Well, the nice thing is again, we're leveraging the power of Zoom. My guess is that there's going to be a handful of people that are already using Zoom. So this is going to be a quick transition for you if you are. Just a couple, new things within Vintium, but if you're already familiar with Vintium, it'll be a really easy switch. I'd say that, let's just say that you're a brand new client with us and you're going to be moving forward with Vintium. Layla is fantastic at providing demonstrations to new clients, and we go through your entire account once we've populated it with our white glove onboarding program, and we kind of teach you, instruct you, and coach you as to making, how to do the basics, right? Sending notices, setting up virtual meetings, uploading documents. So we're there for you every step of the way. So John, it's really up to the individual. It's kind of a tough question to answer, but we do our best to, one, make the solution super intuitive and user friendly, and two, with this particular feature at least, we're using Zoom, which is at this point kind of the de facto go-to video conferencing solution. So.
Right. We also provide you with a residence manual, which we're going to be updating with this new feature. We have a help center where residents and yourself can look up any questions that you have. And if you'd like, I also make a video for clients, which is personalized to your community, that shows residents exactly how to do each step. So we try to make it as easy as possible, as we know that sometimes it can be difficult.
Perfect. Thanks, Layla.
Mark wants to know when this is going to be available to use. He doesn't see it when he logs in. I'll take this one. It's being added to your account. We're launching it today for the rest of the clients. So if it's not here now, it should be towards the end of the day and at the absolute latest tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. Thanks for joining, Mark. Glad that you were able to make it.
Michael then wants to know that he says that they don't post their minutes until the following month after they're approved. Will this change that?
So great question, Michael. And in this case, let's just kind of jump back to the system here. In this case, this meeting has already taken place, and these minutes have been cemented in to the system. But if we want to leave it open, right? So this test meeting, had already occurred, but we could go ahead and edit this and edit those meeting minutes. So we can make it so, you're still able to make adjustments to the meeting minutes, but you're not able to make adjustments to the meeting information, right? So we've kind of built that into the system as well. So if you've already had the meeting and you don't approve the meeting minutes until the following meeting next month, presumably, you could go ahead and then at that time review the meeting minutes here in the system, as well as then approve them, finalizing them, and kind of solidifying them into the system. So hopefully that helps.
If that didn't answer your question, please get back in touch.
Yeah, please. Anything else?
That seems to be all of our questions. Anything else, guys?
Wonderful. Well, again, I do appreciate everybody joining. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out. Some more questions are coming in now.
So Guillermo asks, can we make it so it's labeled as a draft of the minutes?
That's a great question. At this point, I don't think that we are able to draft the meeting minutes, but that would be a great idea.
I mean, we can type them into that box and you could write draft in bold or capitals or font 100 so everyone knows that they are a draft. But we don't have a draft of minutes box.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, so something along these lines. Okay. Yeah, but that's still something that we could chat with the tech team, because that's kind of industry standard, I think, not approving minutes until the previous meeting. So, okay. Very cool. Thanks for that, Guillermo.
And John has asked for our contact information. I put it in the chat, but do you want to repeat it?
Yes, so our phone number is 844-900-0910. And I just got a chat from Fred. Yes, they can be attached. So under here, we do have the ability to store attachments. A month later. That's a good question as well. I think that once we've finalized the meeting that we're no longer able to add. Let's try it.
We
Let's test
can
this out.
edit.
Oh, okay. So we can add new attachments. So that's another opportunity as well. Thank you for that, Fred. And I think that would go back for Guillermo as well. If you wanted to, kind of take the pending or draft meeting minutes during the meeting here, and then you could go ahead and attach the finalized or approved minutes a month later during that secondary meeting. You can do that as well, or the following board meeting, you can do that as well. Wonderful. Anything else?
No more questions, I think, but whenever I say that, we get more questions. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I posted our contact information again in the chat. So please do save that. And if you want to send us your email in a private chat by clicking on just to panelists or clicking on my name, which is Layla, or Jonathan, we'll send you an email with more information. We'll give you a call if you'd prefer.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I think that's all we've got. I'm not seeing anything else coming into the chat or the Q&A. So thank you everyone who attended. And yeah, again, feel free to reach out. All right, and I think last thing, we'll go ahead and put this on YouTube. And with that, we'll also share this link with all of the excuse me, all of the attendees. So if you do have any further questions, you can go ahead and reference that as well. All right, I'll go ahead and end now since I'm not seeing any other questions. Thanks again, everybody, for joining. Layla, thanks for being the moderator with me. And have a wonderful Wednesday.
Have a great day, everyone.
All right, bye.
Bye.